Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk about the death of BuzzFeed News, which obviously is an important piece of news that has dropped very recently. And yes, for those who don't know, it's recently been announced that BuzzFeed News is going to be shutting down for good. Though it is worth noting that this is just BuzzFeed News, as BuzzFeed itself, along with the Huffington Post, which is owned by BuzzFeed, are still in operation. Nevertheless, I would have to say that this news was somewhat inevitable regardless, and is indicative of the reduction in quality of journalism at large. For unless you've been living under a rock for the past decade or so, you may have noticed that a lot of journalists out there have become increasingly belligerent towards their own audiences, while at the same time publishing increasingly shoddy examples of quote journalism unquote. So naturally, business would inevitably drop off, and despite the best efforts of getting hate clicks, that has simply not been enough to sustain these companies. And I would even go so far as to say that trying to get hate clicks has, if anything, only sped up the decline of the journalists, as it caused public trust to drop further still. But there is one more detail I do need to bring up, and that is the fact that BuzzFeed News lost in a market that is specifically rigged in its favor. Consider, if you will, for example, the fact that news channels get preferential treatment on YouTube, to the point that YouTube has made sure that they show up as the top results every time when you look up a news story, regardless of how actually popular those videos are. And for what it's worth, yes, I did check, and yes, BuzzFeed News does indeed have its own specific news channel. And yet, even with such significant advantages as that, BuzzFeed News still could not turn a profit. They couldn't even manage to turn a profit when YouTube was actively giving them every advantage possible, which proves beyond any doubt that even the most mainstream of audiences are simply not tuning in to modern journalism. So if you're tired of the blatant dishonesty and propaganda being pushed by mainstream news articles these days, well, this story is clearly something of a white pill, because it serves as yet more proof that the establishment is currently losing. In fact, they are even managing to lose in a case where the market is rigged specifically in their favor. And like I said, this appears to be a trend that is not specific to BuzzFeed News, but instead is more indicative of the state of modern journalism, which ultimately means that with the way things are heading, it's more a matter of when other major news outlets shut down rather than if. Now, for those curious, I will of course be leaving a link in the description below to an archive of an article talking about the shutdown of BuzzFeed News, so you can check it out for yourself if you should so desire. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.